Hey everybody, this is Barry Mankin here with Four Corners Environmental. We're here in a basement here in Nashville, Tennessee, and we're looking at a finished wall section where the grading on the outside is actually up about halfway to 3/4 of the way up this wall. There's been some moisture issues or some bubbling on this paneling. The house is in the 80s, and so there's some history here, but they just want to see if there's mold behind this wall. So there's been another section that they actually pulled off, and that section showed some active mold growth. So we stopped that process so we didn't aggravate it any further. And then we want to check these other walls in these other rooms. So we're using an infrared camera. And if you can see here, this shows the thermal conductivity of the studs behind the wall, but you see some really dark spots in different locations along that area, which is indicative of what we found in the other room, where the attachments of those studs to the wall, those nails, were usually it's a ram set, were actually leaking on the other side. So we've got some indicators here. So we start with the thermal imaging just to have a vantage point because it's cold outside and it's hot inside, right? Now we're putting our moisture meter on here. And we're not wet, then we're wet. Different locations, right? So it's indicative of those areas that we have on those spots that we saw, those really dark spots, and we have moisture. So we're validating what we're seeing on a thermal imaging camera with a good moisture meter. So some of that has a potential to be metal, but in this particular case, we can actually see that moisture, and we've had a history of that on another side. So it kind of proves that point, and we're going to need a remediator in this section. We did an air sample to see if any mold spores have influenced the space as of yet. Otherwise, we would put this under containment, and we would get a certified remediator to come in here and start opening this cavity up, getting some negative air with an air scrubber in here to catch anything that would aerosolize, and take care of this the right way. So this is why you do testing on the front end. And then depending on what we see, we may end up having to do what's called a PRV on the back end just to validate that everything is gone. So this is how it happens. Great looking house, very clean. And it's just got some issues that can get worse. It doesn't get better by itself. It gets worse over time. We're going to look at the grading issues on the outside that are influencing this so we can stop those issues. And typically on a basement, we're actually going to have a perimeter foundation drain. My guess is that's probably blocked. They always are. So that's one thing that creates hydrostatic pressure as well as backs things up the wall. And that's a potential other than just surface water. So we're going to look at all those issues on the exterior as well and address those from a prevention standpoint. And that way, once it's done, we know it's not going to happen again. All right. Hopefully that helps. Stay warm.